Hey guys, welcome back to Three Swords Productions. If you're new here, I'm Steven, this is Nathan, and today we're going to do commentary over Whitebeard versus Kinnemon. If you guys are new to Kinnemon, we have a ton of Kinnemon coming out this week, so stay tuned to the channel, and if you're excited for that, please hit subscribe, and if you like the video while you're watching, hit like. You ready?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Alright, so I'm actually on the Whitebeard list here. Pretty standard Strawbeard list at this point. It is playing a lot of Vista instead of Nico Robin, and no choppers if you're used to playing choppers. We typically play chopper in the list here on the channel, but for this one recently won something I don't recall, so we were swapping over for this one.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think Chopper can give you some flexibility, especially against Kinnemon, where Odin turns can come in and really swing at you pretty hard. But there's also just a lot of strength in saying, "Hey, I've got the counter power and events to get out of it, so it's okay."
Yeah. Well, Chopper is super good, yeah, against Odin in the late game, as well as kind of mirror match too, in the very end of the game too.
Yeah.
So you can kind of trip up your opponent, make them commit Dawn that they didn't otherwise want to commit. I think Chopper is like good amount of flexibility, but yeah, definitely it costs one. It is a little bit more prone to vistas or removal spells from your opponent. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I think the deck also replaces it with more of the four Dawn 6Ks. So you get to play a bit more of that mid range game where you're fighting for the board.
Yeah, this list is
playing
playing 4 Luffy, 4 Frankie, which is pretty stock coming out of the Japanese meta. Alright, so we are looking at a ton of 2Ks in my hand already.
Yeah.
Looking great. Also looking at 9-drop Newgate as well as Ace in my hand and a Luffy, so I'm going to have a lot of kind of mid to late game pressure here. And King Do. So, nice. Also looking at Vista. And I believe Nathan's remarking on, hey, you cannot Vista Raizo.
You can. It does have 4K power, so that is pretty nice. It looks like we're just seeing a full on swing out here.
Come across for 9. Let's see you take a damage.
You see how fast I took that life?
Let's see you take a damage.
I'm just gonna take that one and
Yeah.
move on to the next one.
Well, I'm looking at my hand and saying, hey, at a certain point in this game, I probably have a lot of rushers that are really beefy. So, Ace and as well as Luffy to get past some of your blockers.
Yeah.
So it's going to be important for me to not trip over blockers. So this turn, you're going to take 1 damage. That's where I'm at. And you kind of following suit, coming across for 8.
Well, this is something we've talked about before, where coming in for an attack early against a Whitebeard helps to mitigate the 9-drop on 9 Dawn. So being able to help stop the power of that card is very important for this matchup.
So going into this turn, I really thought I was going to play 5-drop Luffy and swing at you twice, once with my leader, once with the Luffy, and then kind of counter out to protect my Luffy, and then follow up with Ace on the following turn for just a lot of pressure against you. But then I drew the Nami, and I looked in and I said, okay, I kind of want to play Nami. Let's add a 2K to my hand, play a bit more defensively because you dealt the damage to me last turn.
Yeah.
And then we'll also play out Frankie, and on the following turn we'll have a lot more attackers that we didn't have to defend this turn. And just to call it a mistake at the end of the turn there, I was kind of thinking about those lines, so I forgot to take my damage. It is something that we correct, I think, in one more turn, but we do fix life.
Yeah, we do.
Otherwise, the attack on turn 2 did not look quite as good from Kinnemon.
And we play Yamato here. I have the choice between Nami and the Frankie that's there.
Yep.
And I would never be able to kill that Frankie, even if I swung even 6K on it, and then it'd have to be 7K would be the attack on it, and he's just gonna counter out of that. It's very easy for him to do so. I'd rather kill the Nami. Maybe someday in the future it stops a Makino attack, or it stops Nami attacking one of my searchers.
Yeah, I mean, Nami has a lot of versatility against you, especially you're playing Jewelry Bonnie and Momonosuke, and these Tokis, so it is actually, it's not nothing for sure, and kind of respecting it early and getting your successful attack in. I really like that. I respect the discipline.
I also think that Raizo in this exact matchup feels a lot worse. Having to attach 2 Dawn to be able to attack anything feels quite bad. So essentially trading by having my Raizo attacked here, the Raizo for the Nami, means that we went 1 for 1 for that. I did essentially force an attack on the Raizo instead, which feels okay. And I think all of that entails that the use of that on the Nami is still okay.
So here I'm looking at a lot of 2Ks, but I have double Vista for these blockers. I'm kind of considering, do I play the Vista or do I just play not? Do I play Luffy or do I play Ace? And I'm not sure here, so I'm making the attack with Frankie first to kind of see if my opponent discards some cards. And surprisingly, he actually took the damage. So at this point, I said, hey, I've already been successful this turn. I've done what I wanted, so I'm going to play double Vista here and kill these characters.
Which is very good. My thought process was that the blockers should be good the following turn, but also I needed something a little bit more to do on my future turn here. I needed a little bit more. So I was hoping that the card from my life was going to help shape what this turn could be, because it wasn't looking to be a super powerful turn otherwise.
Yep.
Um,
All right, so now you're staring down Frankie and two Vistas, and I'm going to 9 here.
Yep. And I think this is exactly right now where we're going to realize that you're at one too many life.
Right. Well, I think you make an attack with the Yamato
Sure.
first.
But it's important to figure out, okay, if he plays 9-drop next turn, what does that force my turn to be? You have to kind of plan always for the 9-drop as Kinnemon, because it's such a powerful card and is going to power you down very quickly that you need to worry about getting in before then.
And you were going 8 on Frankie there, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just, you attacked me once with Kinnemon, and then I am counting the number of turns that I've had, because every turn that I've already had is 1 life,
Yep.
plus the 1 from Kinnemon, so I should have taken 5 damage already and be at 1.
Rectified, and now we're trying to figure out if I still want to do the attack. It's a debate whether you're supposed to attack for the last piece of life here. Since if he doesn't have 9-drop in hand, Strawbeard will just take the life at its end of his turn as usual. And obviously they have exactly 1 million cards in hand, so you can't always guarantee it, but it feels pretty likely. I felt like I was adding to my board enough here, I think, that it was going to be okay.
Continuing the attack from Yamato 8k to Frankie 6k.
Yep.
And I'm considering what I should do about that. So I am going to play Radical Beam to protect my Frankie rather than losing 2 cards. And I do that because I know that on the following turn I'm going to play Newgate and stay at 1 life. In order to do that, I have to tap out, which means I won't have the Dawn available for Radical Beam, which I felt like was going to be my weakest turn. So I just go ahead and use the Radical Beam right now.
And I'm also okay with that, because using a Radical Beam on an attack that's
well, it's wasted resource, because I needed to 3k to get out, and instead I spent 4k. But unfortunately, that's just what lined up for me.
Okay, and play out another Yamato to commit another board, so we're ready for the next turn in case he doesn't have the 9-drop here, and then follow it out with a Toki so that we can have a blocker here, since Yamato counts as
more
an
blockers.
Yeah.
So blocker dense. Kinnemon is just awesome like that. Okay, and we're looking at a handful of options, really. We could play the 9-gate like we already wanted to, or we can continue with the line that we had originally thought of way back on turn 2, which is to continue playing rush characters for the rest of the game.
Yep.
But the number of blockers that have already come down kind of make me hesitant to do that, so we're just going to continue the pressure here, play 9-gate, and swing Frankie on Yamato, I believe.
You swing with Newgate on Yamato first. I countered out. And then Frankie on Yamato makes a lot of sense. I think keeping my bodies on board is very important to me. So if Frankie does happen here, I will probably either counter out of it or block. I'll probably counter out of it if I can. Would make the most sense. Always want to save those blockers for the large attacks that come in. But yes, we see the Frankie 6k on the Yamato.
I believe you are also down on cards in your hand.
I think I have about 3 or 4,
Yeah, so we are pressuring that pretty nicely. And 9-gate does come down to protect my last life. Now at 8k, and I'm actually pretty happy that you countered out against the Yamato, because 8k versus my leader being 6k attackers versus my leader being 8k kind of represents a lot of free cards out of every attack that you're going to make. So pretty good for me.
And a lot of considerations here on what to do. You can try and, if you have a bomb, to set up like an Odin here for the following turn to get through. You can consider rolling out a bunch of blockers, which is what I think ultimately happens here. Um,
More blockers.
it's somehow the Kinnemon deck plays blockers, and I don't know how. It's a little wild.
Not some, infinite blockers.
Um, looks like another Yamato is in hand. So Yamato could tap down a Vista to help stop an attack that could be larger.
Playing Yamato number 3 here would be pretty sweet.
I think it'd be more sweet to play like an Odin here.
Yeah.
But
getting something to pressure, you would have to not die on your turn.
Yeah.
Sorry, when it passes back to me. But yeah, you would definitely then set up a lot of pressure for the following turn. Whitebeard can probably get out of a single 15k attack, but 2 16k attacks, pretty difficult to get out of.
Agreed. I swang Yamato on Frankie there, 6k on 6k. It feels like Whitebeard could counter out of that, but then you would have to deal with, on the following turn, some big attacks back. So having the counter power in hand, I don't blame you for. And then we see Yamato tap, and we see the leader swing on that Vista, and then an 8k attack in here makes it even. You taking the life means that you aren't playing 9-drop next turn.
Yeah, no more 9 gates in my hand. And picking up Radical Beam was an insane pickup. That made me feel very good to know that.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Now I can get incredibly high. I can basically almost tap out, go to 1 Dawn, and I have a lot of mana to work with on this turn. And we're just going to try and clean up the board here. Ace coming down, reducing the power of 2 characters on the board. Yamato is looking like juicy targets with my Vista on the table also. So we originally considered targeting the 2 tapped Yamatos to make him easier to swing on, but then realized, hey, just reduce the cost of the untapped Yamato, and then we have a 12k swing on the one that is still 6k, and Vista can now swing on the 3k tapped Yamato. Yeah. And 9k can actually just pop, like free, just destroy the untapped one. Very powerful ace.
Yep, and then Vista coming in just like we expected. You can counter out, but it's still going to die.
You could counter out, and I have 2 more attacks on it.
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah, just especially with so few cards in your hand, that's kind of what I'm banking on right there.
Yep. And then we see some 6k on 6k. Probably counter out of this. 2 Dawn is left open, so we have to assume, yep, Punk Gibson. So do get out of that one as well.
You will get to keep your Yamato, which represents 1 entire extra attack here.
Yeah.
But it looks like, you know, you could also just make a bigger Yamato swing instead of your leader. So we go 6k coming across the table.
Yeah, I don't think I'm living an extra turn, so having the extra attack is pretty important, I think.
Yeah, just trying to go, here's 2 attacks rather than a 16k attack.
Yep. And now here's a 15.
And we did have the 1k Luffy to counter out of the first attack, and Radical Beam that we just picked up off life, which was a really lucky pickup.
And that's all of it. Still left over with 2 2Ks in hand. You didn't even need them.
Got the Makino and
you gotta flex it anyways, though.
Well, I'm glad I showed you the Makino because that earlier attack on Nami felt super, justified.
Sure. And it looks like I have Paradise Waterfall in hand, so I'm definitely dead here. But
well, yeah, at 1 card, it becomes incredibly difficult for you to counter out.
Yeah.
And no Dawn. That's another big important thing here. And another Luffy. So really, if we had taken the aggressive line, I think we would have also gotten there.
Yeah, I think all roads lead to the win here.
It was a lot of blockers to try and get through with my ace, and the Luffy's obviously could do that.
Yep, because I was hoping for Miracle Punk Gibsons here. I think was the hope.
I think,
and then I didn't.
Funny enough, I think I still lose to Punk Gibson out of the life here. That card is such a powerful event trigger.
Yep, and you got it.
All right, we do just have this last attack with Luffy we could make if we wanted to. All right,
very cool.
That's the game, though.
Yeah, so there was a couple interesting things there. There was no top end out of the Kinnemon, which is definitely not great from that side. Yeah. But also,
well, one of the punishes for not playing Chopper in the Whitebeard list is Odin, and so when you don't draw Odin to play, you're not punishing the one thing that I'm doing that's weaker than other deck lists. So, you know, that definitely felt like a feel bad for sure.
I think so. Also, that ace was just so good.
Oh,
Ace is just such a
I have
powerhouse.
a theory that you win like 90+% of games that you play Ace. Ace is such a powerful card. I mean,
Yeah.
did it really need Rush?
I don't think so. I don't think
It's
that card did.
so strong. That's crazy. Yeah,
So
one of my favorite red cards for sure.
yeah, I think both of those things kind of help sway the matchup in your favor, but
Yeah.
some interesting decisions and some cool cards slung around the table.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. And if you're still here, please hit subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. And if you like the video, hit like. And if you want more content, we are going to be posting a lot of Kinnemon this week. So click on the playlist on the screen now. We'll catch you in the next one.